And we might have a few more people arrive, but we'll go ahead and get started.
We're late today.
I don't think I've ever had it be
Me either.
Yeah, this is
quite
like the,
so.
It's the weather.
Is it the weather?
It's not snowing, it's just
Holiday.
raining.
Christmas is in 13 days.
Oh, we can
and-
see.
yeah, that's not it.
Okay, well, there's a sign-in sheet going around, I don't know who has
That's right
it.
here.
It's right here.
Let's make sure everybody gets signed in, please.
Everybody?
And then we will, start with introductions. Christy, you wanna start us off?
Sure, I am Christy Albertson, I am a grant writer and coordinator for the health district.
I'm Karen McLean and I am the Lake Clinic Supervisor.
Judy Clark, Director of Public Health.
And I'm Sino Eagle, no, I'm just joking. This is Francie Winters, I'm the prevention coordinator.
James Williams, Lake County Commissioner.
Paul McGinnis, Eastern Oregon Coordinated Care Organization.
Mike Sturkey, Regional Manager of Banjel.
Arvinder Singh, Chip Coordinator, Lake County, Lake District.
I'm Susan Pointier, the Revenue Cycle Manager for Lake Health District. And do we have anybody on the phone?
Wow, this is new too. Could you introduce yourself again?
My name is Karen McLean and I
Karen
am,
McLean, Lake Health Clinic Supervisor?
Yes. You got it.
So that's different than Nom's position?
Nom was the director. So we don't have a new director yet, so I'm kind of the interim person.
Did Nom leave?
Yes.
Yes.
Where is she?
Don't make us cry. She went clear to Canada.
Oh my, okay,
It was an opportunity.
She's doing well.
I didn't know that.
She misses us horribly, I'm sure.
Well, you weren't here for the party.
You can introduce yourself.
Kevin Winter, reporter, Lake County Examiner.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. I'll help you as much as I can.
I know.
No, I told Noelle that she should come to the meeting, I'm like, you need to make friends with Paul.
He has all the answers.
All
Yeah.
the names.
Some answers.
But you know how to get the answers, that's what we appreciate. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and look at the minutes here, see if anybody has, any corrections, anything to amend, anything like that.
Look at how many people were here last
I
time.
know, right? I know, and like, there's always more than this.
And I missed it last time.
Yeah,
Look at all,
there you
still
go.
all the people.
I can't vote on
Me either.
So I have a comment, not a correction in the minutes, but, so Paul, you sent out a meeting handout to
Yes.
your CCO. So in that, the number of attendees for the last month's meeting, it says 32. However, I think there were 39 of us. So I just wanted to inform you about that.
Okay, I wasn't here to count heads.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
that's.
would have been
Excuse me.
Noah and Janet that
Yeah.
were doing that, then we had some people on the phone too, which.
That's what I feel, they missed out on the people on the
Yeah, I think they
phone.
missed you guys up in Christmas Valley.
How many, no,
Oh, I did that,
No, you added that?
Ours just says a few additional attendees called in via the phone, but our number was 32, so if there were 6 on the phone, they didn't know who or how many there were. But I can, you know, for the record, I'll change that to 39.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes? No corrections?
I can't do that, I wasn't here.
I'll move.
Okay, first move that we approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Both minutes approved. Paul, looks like you have some incentive measure progress reports and some other items.
I do, and maybe Commissioner Williams can chip in if they heard anything newer today at the EOCCO board meeting, which she served on, but at the clinical advisory panel meeting last, like the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, not the day before, but a week before that. So to give you an idea of when the data was, but they were using the same kind of data that's on your October report that should have been distributed with minutes and so forth. They had the analytics people do projection to figure out whether we were gonna meet the incentive measures or not. And you have the cover page, which is for all of EOCCO on the front. And I'll kind of run through what we thought we were gonna do, and then we'll just look at Lake real quick.
So are these projected or actuals?
They're projected. We
These
still,
are
I mean, we still have probably 11 or 12 working days left in the month, you know, if you're gonna beef things up or whatever, and then there's a 90-day run out, Madam Chair,
Right.
on the claim, so we won't really know if we made it or not until, you know, probably April or May.
Yeah.
But in general, on adolescent well care visits, we do believe we're gonna make it. Similar, you guys had, your event in the schools, lots of places do stuff in the fall. And, you know, we're projecting that will be good. We do not think the childhood immunizations are gonna be made. There's a couple of kids, and it's just a handful that can make it or break the year for us. They have to have been fully immunized by the time they turn 2 during this past year. But we have a bunch of them that within a month, they got the second set of those. And, you know, so we're gonna try to appeal, but
We appealed last year for Lake County and they did not.
they being us at
OHA.
EOC, oh, you appealed to the
I
OHA?
appealed last year because we had one kid from meeting the target and they received, is a Christmas Valley kid, received it the next month and OHA would not give us the points.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
So,
We're probably
just
not
for
gonna
you.
meet that one. Colorectal cancer screening, we believe that we will meet it. DHS custody, no way are we meeting it. That was as a result of a pretty catastrophic evening last February in the northern part of our counties, or the northern part of our region, when Gillum, Morrow, and Umatilla County, and a little bit of Union, 138 kids were removed from their homes on the same night because there was a big drug bust operation kind of thing. Now, not all those kids entered foster care because they had other places and family members that they could go to. But we missed 11 mental health visits in Umatilla County on those 3 that we have to do. And it was mainly because Lifeways up there were short staffed, you know, so the worst time to be short people to be able to catch up with a big workload. So there's no way that's happening. We'll let Mike chime in here, but we believe that we're gonna meet the dental sealants. People in many of the counties are saying this data is not reflecting accurately compared to what you have at Advantage in your data.
Correct.
Are you guys there yet?
We
Have
are
you
looking-
met?
We are looking very good as far as like doing the teledentistry is what we call it, but using that platform, we're able to see a lot more kids, and we do feel very confident about hitting those metrics.
But that's the sealant metric?
Yes.
Okay, good. Effective contraceptive use, we believe we'll get that back, mainly going back into asking the clinics if women have had a tubal ligation or a hysterectomy.
Are those worksheets
I thought they were
out yet?
supposed to
Like,
move forward, but
They should have gotten, but have they been sent out?
no. I think they're gonna wait and see what the claims do first, cause we only got, the developmental screens will meet. The ED utilizations, both ones are green now, but remember, they always start green and then turn red at the end of the year if things go bad, and we're not sure that they're gonna stay green. Just depends on what happens. We do not believe we'll meet the oral evaluation for adults with diabetes. We got lucky last year on the consumer assessment of health plans and systems. That's a random survey of our members, and the questions are about access, whether you got to see your doctor that you wanted today. And somehow we made it, despite our workforce numbers. It might have just been lucky, but we've never met it before, and that's the one that put us over the edge for last year. So I'm just saying, mentally, we better be prepared for 80% of our withhold return. Last time that happened a few years ago, they had a challenge pool on several other measures to the side, and we met 3 or 4 of them. And so to the LCAC and everybody else, it looked like we got the 100%, but that money could have been on top of that. And remember, the local community advisory council, as a policy of the EOCCO board, whatever we get back on that withhold, you guys get 6%. And then it's divided from there. So I'll just give you a heads up on that's where we are, and we'll keep pushing along. In Lake, the actual specifics there, we probably would have liked to have seen a little bit more green at this point in the year. So you can see on the right-hand side, again, this is through October, but I don't know about the claims. Anybody have any comments on anything in particular?
There's gonna be some claim resubmissions to capture some of the data that may have been overlooked
Okay. We want
by
you
the
to
end
do
of the
that.
year.
We want you to do that, okay. I think another report will be out like probably on Monday. I thought it might come early just to kind of stimulate people to more action on these last couple of weeks if you thought you could, but it's not out yet, so if it comes, I'll probably send it. You can forward it over and then we can look at it later.
Yeah, looking at the report, I thought for immunizations, colorectal cancer screening and dental sealants, we should have been in the green. But yeah, I'll have to look into it and confirm.
Well, I think I asked in the fit tests, they went out like last month, right?
Yes.
For the fecal blood
Usually
test.
before then, wasn't it?
I think like around October,
Yeah.
like not before mid of October. Because again, it was kind of, the whole process was kind of late this year.
The contract process, so through the opt-in.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully, maybe, some push to call back. But again, we think we're gonna make that one, so. That's my bad news. The other thing was just, we had our CCO 2.0 meeting as part of our last meeting. And there were a couple of things I wanted to point out, mostly around the questions that were reflected in the minutes here, to see if you wanted to make any action item of them. But the first one that was asked, and I'm not sure where, and we had a slide up on the screen, and it showed these new committees, and one was called the CAC Nominating Committee. It was upper left-hand corner of the box. Well, we later learned that we were looking at the wrong form or something. It's supposed to be called the CAC Selection Committee. And Commissioner Williams was at the board meeting today, they approved the charter for it.
For the selection committee charter.
For the selection committee. So, the way that the health authority had written the language on the composition of this committee was that they wanted, because your question was, will each county be represented?
Okay.
Right, or somebody, whoever's question it was. They wanted a representative from every county, and so this is true, you have to have two true statements on either side of an and in order for the whole thing to be true, an equal number of EOCCO board members. So that would make this committee 24 people big, which
To
is just
select?
ridiculous to do. So basically, the process is gonna remain the same. People fill out an application, it goes to the local county commission or the county court. They make their recommendation that this person be allowed to participate on the LCAC. Now, we used to just create the names and send it to the EOCCO board in January and June, 2 times a year. Now it'll have to go through this committee that we're gonna set up, and we look at it as 6 people that would be associated with the RCAC meetings. And Katie Brenneman, who's the chair of the RCAC, we're gonna argue that she represents all 12 LCACs. Right, and she's a board member, so woo-hoo, we got 2 roles filled in one person, right? Commissioner Williams is gonna fill the same damn role.
Yeah.
He's gonna be someone.
Well,
I'm
what,
sorry.
that's alright.
It's just.
One of the things we actually do at the Association of Oregon Counties is we have a position, it's called Other Counties Not Otherwise Represented. And we have a position on most of the committees where one person fills that role. And I actually am the one commissioner in the state of Oregon that fills that most of the time.
Other counties.
Other counties not otherwise represented.
I gotta write that down.
So it's like
That's
counties,
like other
or
duties
counties
and
not
signs.
otherwise represented, I believe is what it is, counties not otherwise represented. So because some of these boards can only be so many, there can only be so many people on these committees. And not everyone can be there, so if they want their point to be across, they have a point guy that can basically at least make sure that their thoughts were shared at the committee on whether it's the Natural Resources Committee or the Legislative Committee, Judicial Committee, whatever have you. And so, the idea of having a commissioner or a person from every single one of the counties somebody's not gonna make the meeting.
Right.
And they're just not going to be represented at all. And their only chance of being represented was to be at that meeting. And so that it's just kind of rough.
I like it though. You should have embedded that in the charter.
I just wish I could have heard better on the phone call today because I did not drive to
That would have been helpful. So, the other one that was not answered, your minutes reflected kind of these notes. But the MEND platform, which is our telebehavioral health, which allows for people to have a clinic visit with their phone, not leave their house if they're agoraphobic or travel and all that kind of stuff, is in effect in Lake County.
I knew
So it has rolled up. I wasn't aware.
I apologize for not being here, but I know they're using it at Wellness Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is good, so we wanna promote that, the utilization of that as well. So, I don't know if there's any, general comments that you had about the meeting? If we were required to do it again, what we might do differently, what you like, what you didn't like. I'd be pleased to hear. We are putting together a summary of all 15 of the meetings and creating a report that we'll share back with people. About things that were themes across multiple counties, not just one county that had a particular issue with X, Y, or Z. One of those things though, Mike, was availability and accessibility of dental in several counties where you don't have a physical clinic, but you have contracted providers like Baker and Wallowa. So be ready for that one. Came up. Thoughts?
It was a great opportunity for us, for one, to interface with our community. We had a huge turnout. I think we had quite a good number of people. I was very surprised about that. And it was great for us as, at least for me being part of the health district, to get some interfacing time with MODA representatives, to meet Noah like he really exists, not just this guy I talked to on the phone. And so that was really great, and I've actually been able to talk to him about several other things that I didn't know he was a resource for because of that meeting. So it was really great, and I got a lot of feedback from community members who watched it either from the Examiner website or saw it posted on social media. So I think it did reach others besides just those who were actually present here. I got a lot of feedback, and people were happy with the fact that that was publicized.
I wondered about, I know you guys went through and tried to make sure that all the information was as accessible as possible, because those of us who come to these meetings consistently know all the acronyms, know all the kind of shorthand. And there were a couple of times where I asked questions because I could hear people in the audience asking them and they weren't gonna speak up. So I don't know if the people you heard from made any comment. I know that it was better, and definitely I could tell that you guys have made the effort to make it less jargony. But I don't know still how accessible it was for the general public who doesn't speak the shorthand.
Very, very kindly said, Kristen. But it came out loud and clear, and it's one of the major themes that part of this summary report, when staff debriefed, that was one of the things that it's like, what wasn't so? And one of them was, despite the regional community advisory council really beating on us about trying to make that thing more simple to understand, people didn't understand a lot of it.
It's so complicated though. I mean, you would have needed a 3-hour meeting to really outline.
You can do 3 hours on value-based payments, if you, I mean.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate it, and we recognized it, don't know any other way around it, you know?
I also think it was really great that we had the opportunity to present the slides about our community.
You guys did good too, I appreciated that.
Yeah, being able to say, we've seen this impact in our community. We have people that are telling us that the kids want us to continue to have the health fair. So they obviously felt the value of those dollars coming back to our community. So it was really great that we had that opportunity to participate, and it wasn't just MODA, people that they've never seen before telling them that this is a great thing that's happening.
That's mentioned too. I should have wrote the report, I wasted my time doing it. It's in draft mode now. That was all I had, unless there were other comments about it.
No, I think it was a great opportunity for us to have. I'm really glad that they made the effort and spent the money to send everybody.
Yeah, and thank you guys too for making the effort to include North Lake.
It worked, they were, we put ourselves on mute and had all kinds of conversations. Cause I could tell what they didn't understand, and I was explaining what was going on up there, so it was good. My last item is on opt-ins. I asked Christie in an email, there's probably just one, right? Okay, I'm asking around, and we have these new 2020 incentive measures, right? And we'll probably address this in January at some point, because we gotta get up to speed on what these new ones really are. We shared that they had changed. There's not a lot of focus on what community can do, right? And so I'm not hearing much uptake at all on opt-ins, which means even a poorly written application might get funded. So I just wanted to
What are you
encourage,
saying there?
I wanted to encourage people to think about, you still have to have partners, and it's gotta be primary care that's the actual applicant or the hospital or something. I'm just saying, I'm not hearing much of any activity in the opt-ins this year.
Can we get around the Arcadia part? Because we would apply for the diabetes, hypertension, one, whatever that one is, but Arcadia, would you like to, Arcadia's not great.
Well, Arcadia's not great, but we also are gonna,
The
yes,
server
technically we have Arcadia, but we could use a different source.
do we have another source? Is that included in Cerner?
We will, April.
Okay, if we can do that, then we
We
can apply
have,
for that.
we have the health analytics package. So
We'll talk.
Okay. And Chrissy, by the way, I forgot to get back to you when you asked about the more frequent reports for progress for clinics. They're monthly, each clinic. So
Okay.
Warner Mountain gets one, Lake gets one, Christmas Valley gets one, and it's every month.
Okay.
So if you're looking for more up-to-date and accurate, the thing is this is kind of generic because it's across the whole county.
Right,
Whereas if the clinic's giving it to you, they're sharing their performance, and that's not necessarily something that we require transparency for.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
that will save a long time.
But that gets around the need for some of the Arcadia stuff, right? If they give you the list of the people that need
Right.
that particular service, you can count them up, so. I forgot to do that. There's a note on my desk somewhere to write to you.
I don't know.
That was all I had, I'm just saying, think about it. That's it for me, Madam Chair.
Immunization data.
Yeah, so if you keep turning in your packet, Arbiter put in some data in here for us, and I just wanted to update you guys because it's fun. I'm very excited. So if you start by looking at the maps, the green maps, and they go from, I wonder, what did we do it from?
I did from 2016 to
So if you look at 2016, this is for HPV rates, and this is 13 to 17-year-old completion, so not just when they had to be completed. And if you look, 2016, Lakeview was white. White is very bad. We like that pretty dark color, that's what I'm going for. So that was the year before I started, and that was the year, did we do the teen health fair in 17?
Yes.
So this is pre-teen health fair. So then if you go to 17, so we were at 12%, 17 you were at 16%, and that was our first teen health fair where we gave these 187 immunizations of HPV during that time. So that was kind of exciting.
Help me out, is it 2 shots, 1 shot?
It's depending. So if you get your first one before the age of 15, it's 2. If you get it 15 and older, it's 3. So it's
2
harder
or
to get
3,
it.
okay.
Yeah, so it's 2 or 3. And in 16, it was 3. It hadn't started 2 yet.
Everybody was, okay, thank you.
So then 2017, we went to 16, and now we're there's a couple other colors similar to ours, right? And then 2018, we went to 22%, and my goal in 17 was we were last place, we were 33 out of 33. 2019, we're tied for 25th place with 3 other counties. And they didn't break it down to like 33 point something, because I'm pretty sure I'm ahead of them. So I'm just very, very excited about that. And it's a lot of work, it's a lot of hounding, people hide from me on the streets. But we're aiming at those 9 to 12-year-olds so that it's 2 shots and they're done before they're in high school is what I'm really trying to do. Still a lot of resistance. We do callbacks for this. I am going to parent-teacher conferences and providing what vaccines are due for folks, and we get parents calling in saying they'll come in for everything but that HPV thing. So we still have a long way to go. But that being said, people seem to be really receptive, and just the language of it, we always refer to it as a cancer preventative vaccine, and the data is amazing. We are looking at getting some of the booster educational books for hesitant parents that we can give out. They're $5 a piece, so they're really expensive. But they're so I think they're so good. We have a grant we're working on to get some of those so that I can start giving those out to parents who are really resistant. And then
Is that the opt-in for
No, it's
immunization?
No, this is my reproductive health
Oh, okay.
grant that I'm working on. For 2 years, I've been trying to figure out how to get money for it because they are so expensive. They have 2 different ones. One's for providers, how you speak to people about it, and then there's one to give out to parents. Harney County did it, maybe a year or 2 ago, and they saw a significant increase in their all over vaccine rates because of it. They got a specific grant for immunizations, and that's one of the tools they used was giving out that book. And also billboards, they have a billboard downtown and callbacks and postcards and lots of other things, but they said the book was really helpful, so I'm trying to get some of that. And then the first 2 are our immunization rates, and then the other page is compared to Oregon's from 2015 to 2019. So that's all of the immunizations that we give and where we rank, and we're doing pretty well. I'm always surprised. Our flu is just low, and it seems like when I go to the teen health fair, I'm giving the majority is flu shots. So we struggle with that. But it's increased. I mean, if you look at 2015 compared to 2019, we're going up.
Yeah.
There was a significant jump between 17 and 18.
Yeah, right? So my new game plan, I have a couple new game plans. One is I will continue to, even if we do teen health fairs or not, I will continue to go to the 2 different parent-teacher conferences with Updated. The school is now taking, I'm putting the immunizations that are due in with the report cards because parents aren't showing up. That way they get sent home. So they're going to a parent, hopefully, and that can look at it. And the other thing we're going to do is we will then organize, still have them pre-sign up for it, and I'm just going into the school and pulling kids out and giving their immunization at school. We gave, Arvinder, what did I say, 78 or so vaccines through the teen health fair and on-site, which saved parents that trip. So I did them all at the school and I didn't have to come down to the clinic to get them.
Are they consented?
They have to be.
Okay.
And so the other thing,
That's pretty good for,
the other thing is students would like to get, when I'm there giving immunizations, they come out and ask me if they can get them. And at this point in time, I'm very cautious in not allowing that because of the new relationship with the school. So I refer them to come to the clinic, and I'm happy to let them sign for themselves, but I'm not letting them do that in the school at this point in time. That might change once they get a little more used to me being in there. But I don't want this school having an angry parent come into the school saying you allowed my child to get a shot, even though it's legal. I want them to come into public health and talk to me about that, not the school.
okay.
So I'm not offering that yet, which is unfortunate because we do have quite a few kids who at that time wanna get shots on their own. We'll see how it plays out over the next year or so.
Yeah, I would really like there to be like a study of what percentage of population in Lake County is resistant to getting vaccinations. Because through my work, I feel I can go up to like 50% of people that I meet, like community. I found 50% of them being resistant to vaccinations or having misinformation, I guess, about it, and yeah, and I don't even know how to convince them.
Right.
Because all I can say is that the scientific consensus is so and so, and they don't believe the scientific consensus. So yes.
Oh, Judy, this information on the maps and the
Uh-huh.
charts, is it reflective of all of Lake County or just
We are all Lake County,
All
so
Lake
it's all
County.
of Lake County, yeah.
including Christmas
You bet.
Valley?
Yes, north and south.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes they hurt my rate. Yeah, up north, they just don't get vaccinated, so it hurts our rate a little bit.
And this is, says the source is from Alertus, so that's given any immunization's given anywhere.
Correct. As long as they're putting it in alert, yeah. The other two things we have going on is I just yesterday firmed up, so VFC, Vaccines for Children's program goes through the age of 19. Once they turn 19, they cannot get free vaccines anymore. So I have a few 19 to 26-year-olds who are uninsured or undocumented and don't have the vaccine, and that's a struggle. So there's no way to get it paid for, and they're $200 a pop. So they're expensive. And that's why I hound them in school to get it before they turn 18, just because of the cost of it. But I signed on with Merck, and they have a program for 19 to 26-year-olds that they come in, they fill out a paper with me at my office, I fax it, and within 15 minutes they'll tell me if I can give a vaccine or not, an HPV vaccine. And if they okay it, I give one from a private stock, and then they send me a new one to replace it. So we're just starting that. I was gonna do my first one yesterday, and that's the whole reason why I got this going as a young gentleman. And he came in and he showed me an insurance card.
Oh, no.
And I tried not to be disappointed.
Oh.
And I was so excited for him, but then I was like, darn it! And we got the HPV vaccines that the clinic had, an extra box, so that was my starter kit, private. So I'm really excited about that. I'll have opportunity to maybe help some older young people out with that. And then the other thing is we had a student come from OIT who is doing a paper on HPV vaccines rates in Lakeview and coming up with a plan, and that's her project. She's graduating this year. So she came down and followed me and came to a meeting. I don't remember what meeting it was here. There was some meeting that she came to. Oh, you can, that's right. And she's back, she turned in all her stuff, it was all okayed, and so I'm waiting to hear what she came up with to help us try to promote HPVs.
Judy, they're also those, that kind of whole pocket, they're eligible for financial assistance through the district as well, which we covered.
Oh, if they're undocumented and stuff, yeah.
We don't require that.
Okay, they would pay a sliding scale.
Yeah, it's based on poverty level, so it
Okay.
goes up to 400%, so I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
certainly they are eligible as well for a sliding fee scale, and that would.
yeah,
So my son's 30, so I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the HPV stuff.
right.
I thought once you became sexually active, it was no good to take
There are
the thing.
multiple different strains. So you can be exposed to one and still not be exposed to others.
Okay,
so
so
it
that's
still
why,
could be.
that's why we're looking for 19-year-olds.
I'm looking for 9-year-olds.
Right, no, I
Yeah,
know we went.
19 is a
much
little
younger,
late in
but
my
yeah,
world.
right, when you were mentioning 19 or 20-year-old,
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
they've probably been active.
Right.
So.
Right, so it's still, but in fact, they just last year raised the age to 45. It hasn't come to me yet, the new orders have not come to me yet. They said they were in talks about it and that they were gonna try to raise it to 45. If you stop and think about just even the divorce rate, and things, it makes sense. I don't know what the statistics and stuff are. I do know that when we have So girls, the only time we test for HPV is with pap smears, abnormal pap smears. So when Kathy comes in, she does a pap smear. If it has an abnormality, it directly goes to HPV to be tested. That's the only time we test for HPV. And if they come back positive, there's no treatment. But what I'm seeing is now the young ladies who have come in and had their vaccination have been sexually active before they started their series, and they're coming back positive, but they still complete the series hoping that it covers them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, and Australia is up in the 70% of complete vaccination in young women, and they say that they're gonna, cervical cancer, they're hoping to have it eliminated in 2023 in Australia.
Well, just for 2020, that's listed as one, right, the HPV, but I think meningococcal is also, you need to meet both of them to meet the measure.
Oh, I see. Well, so 7th grade now, we used to give 1 shot, we're giving 3. We're doing all 3 of them. And I think with the teen health fair, at least yearly, that captures them again for this second HPV. But my hope is I'll have more, and you know, with the way it is, I doubt more parents will come to parent-teacher conferences, and that's where I'm grabbing them to get the consent.
And also as of now, we won't be having a teen health fair.
That's what I thought.
Is that, so I was just gonna ask, so is that a possibility to support that through an opt-in since immunizations could be the target and we could maybe fund it for another year?
What, our opt-in, the immunization one was tied in with kindergarten readiness though, right?
No, but there's the HPV.
Is there one for
Yeah,
that
there's
too?
2
Okay.
different sets of
All right.
immunizations next year. Just a thought that maybe we could pull the teen health fair together again based on immunization rate. Yeah, I think you wanna hear that.
I don't think it'll hurt us. I think immunizations, we have our foot in the door, and the amount of immunizations we give at the actual teen health fair isn't a ton, because I tell the kids, don't worry about coming to my station, I'll get you at school. And they want to really see the other stations, so I'll still be able to get them at the school. But yeah, they like the teen health fair.
One of the feedback from them that St. shared last month was that they really, the teams wanted it to continue.
Yeah. But that was just my little update. So think dark green. We like dark green. We're going for green.
Our Outback Strong logo has a lot of brown in it.
A lot of that thing.
Arminder, do you have some updates for us?
I actually don't have too many updates. However, I still wanted to share some the amazing work that Food Share did for Thanksgiving. So the Food Share did a Thanksgiving giveaway they do it every year, and so during the day we saw 250 families that we handed food to, and
250?
50 families, and that comes out to more than 700 individuals. So yeah, I think that was done really well, and yeah, thanks to the Food Share. Thank you.
When is Christmas? Do you guys,
Oh, yeah.
do you do it again for Christmas?
Yeah.
When is that date?
Is it the 20th? No. It's coming up.
I wasn't there in the last week.
I don't either, where's the calendar?
Are they looking at the 20th? Is that what you said?
20th is a Friday.
The 20th is a Friday, next Friday.
Okay, no, it'll be the. Oh, dear.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's the 19th. I think it's a
19th?
Thursday.
Yeah, they talked to you about that, right?
I wanna say it's the 19th, but I would have to check my records at the office.
Don't forget that, or Lori will have our heads.
I've already written the article,
Yeah, it's Thursday before Christmas, I believe.
so that would be the 19th.
Tuesday before.
Or, no,
Yeah, if I call her, I'm gonna get in trouble. But I'm not supposed to be here. Only because I was in the hospital over the weekend with pneumonia.
Oh.
So I have to, but I'm being very careful.
Good.
I only go to one meeting a day. And instead of 3. But anyway,
And And I think the food share has 3 big events in the year. It's Easter's, Thanksgiving, and Christmas when they give away food.
No, Easter. And Easter.
That's all the. Oh yeah. Do you have any food share, food court updates, Elena?
Putting me on the spot, huh? Well, actually, something maybe relevant, and I just sent this to you in an email today, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. But, so one of the things that food court, like promotes in schools is tastings of new, well, not necessarily food, but like fruits and vegetables and grains and stuff. And so I do these taste tests, right, at the schools, both at Hay, so Fremont Hay, and then Union. At Union, I've already done several, because with 50 students, it's pretty easy to go, okay, I'll get X amount of vegetables and just do something, right? And Bailey, the cook there, like really is all in for doing taste tests, and so that's a lot of fun. And at Hay, I've just done 2 so far. But one of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually collecting data, and the way that that happens is food court kind of promotes that the kids get to vote on what they think about the tasting, and so like we say, okay, like you get to vote, loved it, liked it, tried it. So the tried it is like the option for like, I tried it, didn't really care for it too much. But like we want to keep it positive, right? So like a lot of, like we just like, all that matters is that they tried it, like that's awesome, right? So I'm compiling data first, like how many tried it and how, like what the percentage of like the student body present that day that is. So far at Hay, it's around like 60% of students try it, which makes sense because it's hard, there's so many students, it's hard for all of them to want to even try something.
Are they putting a sticker on something?
Yeah, so I just have them like stamp,
Yeah.
that was the first one, and then actually just on Tuesday, we did a bean medley, baked bean medley with like lots of different beans. And for that one, I actually had fava beans and then put out jars so that they could like drop a bean in the one, because beans. So it was, anyway, so at Hay, it's about 60% of students tend to try it. At Union, it's closer to like 100% because it's only 50 students in one room. And then, yeah, the first taste at Hay was pumpkin soup because that was around Halloween. That was not a success. That was more. See, this is why I'm doing the data. So I'm collecting their votes, and it was like more than 50% tried it, which is an indication of.
And you didn't even give them the option of discreetly spit it into my napkin.
Oh, was there no thank you bite?
Yeah, but then by comparison, so the bean medley, I could pull up the number, but it was like, I don't know, like 20% tried it, which means the rest of the votes were liked it and loved it. So anyway, this is for the whole year, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year I can have like a, kind of like how you guys have this awesome data to show that there can be some, measurable, hopefully to see that there's an improvement, like more students are trying things by the end of the year is the goal.
Do you work in like Paisley School or any of the other schools yet?
No, so it's just the schools here, because my service is supposed to be with like 2 schools, kind of, but Fremont Hay.
One of the things they did in Paisley, because they have a foreign exchange program,
Mhm.
they actually got the local restaurant to help out do a international food like dinner. And so each one of the foreign exchange students got to have a day where they did cuisine from their country. And they did like a 4-course meal, including dessert and everything for like one whole night. No, well, each student that wanted to participate and shares the cuisine from their country, they would have a night where it was, and then the kids would participate actually in some of the cooking. They had to, get a food handler's license and everything else and go learn how to do this. And they're young kids, but they learned how to do it and they helped out. So it was a really cool little program. And it was good for the locals as well to try something different besides the cheeseburger. And, but, yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah,
an
thanks for
estrogen
sharing.
for students with an onion ring on top.
Well, I know that you had big shoes to fill with Ms. Burke being here for so long, but you are winning over the students. My daughter was very excited when we used to go to soup and all of that, and that's my littlest one, so you are breaking down that Miss Brooke. So
I've only
You're
gotten
doing a
that a
good
couple times, so don't feel too bad. Yeah, and then the other thing, not quite an update, and this is not set in stone yet, but just kind of want to bring it up in here. Susan Warner's been gone this week, so I haven't been able to like finalize anything, but January 20th is MLK Junior Day, and that's actually like a national day of service, is what it's recognized at, right? And so as service members, we're expected to either participate in something or organize a service event. And so Sam and I have been talking about hopefully organizing some kind of community like service event centered around the Fremont, what are we calling it? Greeting garden?
Yeah.
So not like it's not gonna be like a complete vegetable garden is the new consensus, but so hopefully, so if Susan writes off on that, then it would look like having different like crafts for people to do. People can like come donate things, donate their labor, plant some stuff, or actually no, January, so no planting, sorry.
No,
Yeah, I know. No planting, but
planted in the snow.
yeah, no, but just like some garden like beautification. That would be like the
So you could tie it in, we're close to California here, so I think they have a state holiday for Caesar Chavez, March 31st.
April 1st.
Is it April 1st now? I thought I read this, but there you go, farm worker, digging in the dirt, that's when you plant.
anyway, just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you, Elena. The next thing I just wanted to speak a bit about, so we'll be having elections for the chair and vice chair positions of LCAC in January. So I just wanted to, the council to start kind of thinking about it. So the role of the chair, mainly it involves facilitating the LCAC chip meetings. Paul, did you wanna add?
Well, I always copy Susan on the agenda items that I have that I need there, so I mean, essentially, you're approving the agenda and running the meeting. That's the key, I think if we were in a different place where it says 6 public comment, managing that now will be new, and I appreciate it being on there so that we're compliant, Arvinder, I know that we haven't been doing that all along, but we're required to do it. But if you're elected as chair, you are expected to serve Lake County directly, not otherwise. By attending the Regional Community Advisory Council meeting along with a designee from the County Court or Commission.
So my question was, so if the vice chair or the chair is going to the RCAC meeting, then can the other person, do they also need to be there?
Either person can
Or a
designate a
proxy,
proxy,
Okay,
so you're.
but that, it has to be known ahead of time, it can't just be, okay, I'm not going this week, so can you make it, Mike? And Mike says, yeah, I'll go, but it's gotta be in the minutes from prior that.
okay.
But yeah, we expect both people to come, it's 2 different perspectives.
Yes. Yeah, and also sharing the agenda and approving the minutes and anything that involves kind of a voting, I guess the chair will be facilitating that. Yeah, so just want everyone to know about that. That concludes our updates.
Christie, grant updates?
Yeah, so very quickly, to catch you all up on what's been happening grant-wise, at least as far as I know. Lake Health District has been awarded a grant from Meyer Memorial Trust that is going to allow us to hire a development consultant and a project coordinator to help us with supportive housing issues. We applied for this before a Lake County team was selected to participate in a permanent supportive housing technical assistance cohort. So the hope is that these people can help us. We have one project in the planning phase right now, but these consultant and coordinator will help us move beyond to whether it's an additional supportive housing project or transitional housing or what have you, just help us keep the momentum that we have going.
I thought you were in that cohort.
We are, this is separate pots of money, so
Oh, okay.
yes. we have two or three pending applications. Lakeview Gardens, we submitted a proposal to Oregon Community Foundation for their Better Nursing Home Care Fund, which if that is awarded, will allow the gardens to do some team building is that the best way to say that? And we'll do some, making sure the residents are really first and foremost in the care over at the gardens, in long-term care specifically, giving them opportunities to do more activities, make sure that our folks with dementia, because our activities coordinator works a normal 8 to 5 type schedule, people with dementia tend to sundown around 5-ish when that person is going home. So making sure that all the staff know different ways to interact and make sure that all of our folks are well taken care of. That one, I'll be honest, is a real long shot. They're only going to award one, so we're not holding our breath on that one, but why not? Thank you, Gardens. And then we have asked ODOT for a little bit of funding to support our car seat program. Right now, Abby Finetti in the ER and Kristen Hill are trained to do car seat checks for folks, make sure that their kids are in the appropriate size seat. We have a very low cost for low income folks. If you present your OHP card, your WIC card, whatever, then you are eligible to get a very low cost car seat. So this will buy more car seats and it will get a public health employee trained as a car seat technician, so that we'll have bilingual expertise and you guys see kids that Kristen and Abby wouldn't. So that's in the works for that.
Your fire people don't already do that?
We don't do it now. Lake is one of the very few, possibly the only county that the fire department does.
You gotta go down and buy a bunch of those water weenie things. You know what I'm talking about? Those
Yeah.
floats, because that's what they use to actually kind of jam under. You'd think that cars would be designed so that seats would work, but about 85% of them are installed incorrectly.
Yeah.
Until somebody that's a pro teaches them how to fix it up.
And then you already mentioned opt-in. The one opt-in grant that we know we're applying for is the emergency department utilization for individuals with mental illness. And if anyone wants to be part of that, we're meeting tomorrow morning at 10 to talk about that. We don't have a game plan yet. We will. The big one is the LCAT grant, and I need y'all to vote on this, even though we are few and far between. I had a lovely handout prepared for everyone, and then the plan went to pot 3 hours before this meeting, and then it came back, but I didn't have time for that. Not putting it on you. So the LCAP dollars are different in 2020 in that we're not using them to address incentive measures because as Paul said, or Susan said, whoever said, everything is very clinic-based next year. So instead, we are focusing on our community health plan, the 5-year strategic plan that we all voted on in June-ish. And we are addressing 3 of the priority areas that we identified in that plan, which are food insecurity, childhood trauma, and substance abuse. So our programs, as we discussed in November, you guys gave me the permission to move forward, continuing to support our summer lunch program, paying for junior program leaders, and then our vendor's time because he coordinates that whole thing. We are hoping to bring a VISTA service number on board, and again, a VISTA is similar to what Helena is doing with Food Corps. This person will work with the Population Health Department. We are not a formal department, but that is our vendor, Francie, and I, and Helena, are the Pop Health Department of Do-Goodery. So the VISTA, we're hoping will come on.
Really, you guys have used that name now, Population Health, in a formal title
We're
within
not
your
formally,
organization.
no, but we meet as the Pop Health Department, and yeah.
But I like the idea of promoting it,
Especially if you're gonna
So
go
that
to value-based payment.
so that people start thinking that way, and,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, especially our revenue cycle woman. You know,
I'm all about the money.
Yeah,
I like helping people, but I'm about the money.
right, but I was gonna be very impressed and write,
Yeah.
like, to
Sorry,
the
we're not
board and let
formal
them
yet.
know, but
We just want buttons that say Department of
You got a
Do-Goodery,
button
or
for the board?
we can say,
No.
Pop Health.
population
I
health,
know,
that's
yes,
great.
that
Just start having to do that.
Yeah, how to do good, you know.
It falls under those other duties as assigned.
So specifically for food insecurity, the VISTA is going to be working with Food Corps and CHIP and the Lake County School District. Food Corps We wish we could have a food corps service member forever, but the reality is that next year is our last year with that program. We are supposed to graduate. And so we want the VISTA to come in and help figure out what is the long-term plan, not to keep a person necessarily in that position, but how are we gonna make sure that nutrition education continues in the long term? And also look at expanding, like you asked, Helena is limited to just those 2 schools, so how can we bring food education to other school districts? How do we expand to other grades? How can we get education for parents, et cetera? I'll come back to more of this stuff in a little bit. For childhood trauma and substance abuse, we're looking at sources of strength, which is an evidence-based suicide prevention program. Northlake School is very, very interested in bringing in this program. The model is that you train trainers. We're hoping to get 2 trained, and these trainers then go into the schools and they are training adult advisors who are then going to train kids so that they're mentoring each other. And it fits so well with Outback Strong, everything we've been doing, because it's all about creating positive culture of health, eliminating bullying, just creating that positive environment in schools. So the hope is that we'll get 2 trainers trained that will be in 1 or 2 schools to get the adult advisors trained. Northlake is definitely on board. Lakeview has expressed interest, is a little farther behind as far as being brought up to speed on the program. The trainers, as part of their certification process, have to deliver 4 mini sessions. So speaking to community groups, coming to the LCAC perhaps, and giving a presentation. So that will happen. It can take up to 36 months to totally roll out this program. So we're hoping that just by the end of this grant period, that we will have identified some kids who can be trained as peer mentors moving forward into the second grant period. Health equity is another area that we can look at, and it's something that we've talked about quite a bit because almost everyone in this room, with the exception of you 2 and kind of you, are Lakeview people. So we've been talking a lot about how do we make sure that we are truly covering the whole county. One thing we want the VISTA to do is come in and hold listening sessions in Northlake, Paisley, and in the Warner Valley. So really get a sense of what are the unique health and including social determinants of health. What do you guys see here? What do you need? And figure out what this group can do to help meet some of those needs. The VISTA, through those listening sessions, we also want to make sure that VISTA is helping us identify people on the ground in those communities because Lakeview shouldn't be dictating to these other places what to do, but we are a handful of people, and so the more people we have engaged and involved, the better off we're going to be. The hope is that the information we get out of those listening sessions are going to inform our 2021 LCAC proposal, even if it is 80% of what we hoped we would get. And that the hope is that we will be targeting something outside of Lakeview. We try to look at countywide things. This is definitely targeting Northlake, but that will for sure in 2021 have something addressing an outside community. Also along the lines of health equity, we want to make sure that we're engaging our OHP members so that we have representation and it's not just a bunch of people deciding what should be happening for the benefit of OHP members. So we've budgeted for, we're hoping that the listening sessions that maybe the clinics can do some targeted outreach, like, hey, we're gonna be in Adele in a month, then mark your calendar. So we're sending out personalized invitations that way. But also we budgeted for some more time for our vendor to do some more one-on-one. I don't know if you've seen our vendor in action, all of you, but in a previous life, he was a used car salesman or something like
That's what he was.
He's really good with people, and so the more we can allow him to spend time one-on-one with people, he's very engaging and we really wanna have nothing about us without us, as we like to say. Contingency, because we don't know for certain if we're going to have a VISTA. I had a really good call with our Oregon Health Authority folks about the VISTA program this week. And so we're moving forward, but it all depends on the kids that are, I shouldn't say kids, the young people they get in there, and who wants to come to Lakeview. Which I told them we're delightful and everyone wants to come to Lakeview. So, but the contingency, and I'm gonna write this somehow into the proposal, is that if we don't get a VISTA, we're gonna divert the money to Living Well, unless the opt-in, so you and I really do have this.
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay, so that's that, and then budget wise, let's break down.
And trying to get living well in North Lake, right?
Yes.
That's what's different about that, is trying to expand it into Paisley and North Lake.
Yes,
That's kind of a struggle.
They want it,
they do.
I think there's hope.
This is our total.
Is there someone on the phone?
Somebody,
I think somebody just left.
yeah, they just left, somebody came in late and then left.
Did they ever announce themselves?
No. History.
Okay.
Technically, our 2020 amount is 41,190. EOCCO is letting us roll over 12,000 from this year. This is the money that was supposed to pay for the playground equipment and install the playground equipment at Optimus Park. I tried to get more money rolled over because we planned for advertising and other things, but 12,000, still, we'll take it. So personnel, again, our vendor, this is his time to run the summer lunch program and to do some of the outreach for OHP, plus he's the project lead for all this, which means he is the person I harass the most, so tell Noel that.
That is not true.
It's true, it is true. It has money for me for the website, I'm the one who oversees the Outback Strong website still, and I will be the Vista supervisor, which is kind of beyond what I do normally. Francie is gonna be, for sure, one of our sources of strength trainers, so we budgeted for her time. And then we have money to hire 3 junior program leaders, so all told, that's our personnel. Supplies, we've asked for easel, chart paper, a digital recorder, different things that the Vista will need for the listening sessions, and then for our sources of strength trainers to come in and actually do their trainings. These are sources of strength training guides. They're pamphlets. I'm trying to remember what I told you, there were 3 things. They're pamphlets to distribute to community members during the mini sessions and just in the public so we can build community support. This also includes the books for the adult advisors of the school, and then knowing we'll be moving forward in 2021, it has the peer leader guides as well. Snacks to make sure that when we do the sources of strength trainings at the schools, people don't pass out. The adult advisor trainings are anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, so we need to feed the people. And then swag, we didn't put very much in the swag budget, but we do have a little bit of money for the Outback Strong branded things, hats, mugs, whatever we don't have already. Travel, this is the Vista travel to the outlying communities. Looking at education, I don't know if Paulina, if you've had a chance to connect with Patty Case yet over in Klamath. Well, we want the Vista for sure to connect with our Klamath County OSU extension folks because they're the ones who have SNAP Ed and lots of materials. Portland, we have no idea where the sources of strength the trainer training work. The state has put it out for bid and they should be making a decision, I would think, in the next several weeks. So we always budget for Portland because it costs the most. North Lake, this is for training the adult advisors at North Lake School. And then Lakeview, part of the requirement to become certified as a sources of strength trainer is that your first training is you have a already certified person co-leading with you. So we assume we're gonna have to pay for that to come here to get trained, yes.
North Lake is on there twice. Is there a particular
This is the Vista one, this is
Okay,
the
that's-
sources of strength.
That's for Vista.
Yes.
Alright.
Yes. Other Vista, this is the fee. OHA is fantastic because there's a subsidized fee, so it's less expensive than it could be, but we're still gonna ask EOCCO to pay for part of the cost to the health district to host the Vista. The Vista would be here from the end of April through the end of April. So I think I asked for 11 months worth of that to be covered. The health district provides everything else, office space, computer, or whatever else the Vista needs. Event dollars, this is venue rental and food for the Vista listening sessions. Promotion, this is advertising. I don't know how effective traditional media will be to promote the Vista talks, but this is where I'm thinking reimbursing clinics for the time that you guys would take to send personal invitations to the folks in Paisley, soon.
And they'll have the new digital thing will be up soon. The new digital sign in North Lake.
Oh, there you go. So all of that. Contracts, okay, so this is, this is a slightly, web, I skipped one, is the cost to renew the domain name for Outback Strong and the web hosting, and then we have 2 email addresses associated with that. Contracts, we are hoping that our second sources of strength trainer will not necessarily be a Lake Health District employee. We have a couple of people in mind. We do have other Lake Health District employees who could potentially do it, but this includes a contract with another outside agency if that's how it needs to be done. Idea is the youth investment coordinator, Nickel, thank you, would be an excellent candidate. He's in all the schools, has a good rapport with staff and kids. Youth mentors is an option. We have different ideas. We just don't have anybody firm yet. The other, we would do contracts or do some kind of payment to the schools. I have 2 written in there right now, North Lake and Lakeview. We would reimburse them for some of the staff time because we realize it is a huge chunk of time. Indirect, frankly, that helps pay for me and the time I spend hounding everyone for data and writing the reports, and that is 5% of our total cost. So that is everything I know at this point, and I need to vote. And or for you to tell me to redo or scrap something.
I have a question before we open it up. See, Curtin is gone.
What's gone? Oh, yes.
2 new people, I'm not confident that they know, they're learning as they go
Yes.
under this for work. And be prepared to talk about it. We can do anything we want, as long as it's part of our plan or
Right.
part of a social determinant of how, just as long as you can connect it in, I don't see any problems there. But I can also see someone new looking at something, and just starting to question some stuff. So I don't know if you talked with them.
I've talked a little via email. We haven't had a phone conversation, but I talked with Martha specifically about
Snow
yes,
Okay.
about the living well piece of things because there is that
contingency.
and because there's the Outback or the opt-in, excuse me. I didn't know if we would be allowed to include it in this, even though it is part of our chip plan. So
Okay.
I've been in conversation a little bit, and I didn't go over it, but I can tie everything into EOCCO.
Just, because it's broad, what you got going here, and there's a couple of, you really need that Vista person to make this work.
Yes, dependent on being able to do the
Right.
the program.
Okay, that's all I wanted to question, otherwise
Yeah.
I'll be on that subcommittee that scores or looks at making comments and recommendations to the board, but
So the Vista, all told, it's about $10,000 of that budget. If we do 2 of our 3 living well programs, if we did the diabetes program and chronic disease, that comes to almost 13,000, but we could get creative with some other funding
did
sources.
you mean chronic disease or chronic pain?
No, there's 3 of them.
Chronic disease.
Okay, so weren't you doing the chronic
We
pain one
have
associated
people
with
for all
the
3.
ED utilization one?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we have people for all 3 down here. We just don't have anybody up north. And Lapine says people won't come, even though I offered to go up and so we're gonna try to get somebody from up there or somebody closer and train them. So I'll go up there and we'll get these programs in up there if we can.
Okay.
And work, we did a listening session connected to Outback Strong, to the Outback Retirement Center. And John Effingham got us a great turnout. So I think if we get those group of people to work together and stick together, we may be able to actually get people to come and attend the classes. They told us it wouldn't go down here either when we first got here, and it has. So we're fingers crossed.
it takes a couple of times for the plow to break up the dirt enough to be
Absolutely.
fruitful, so keep going.
And word of mouth is everything. And so if we have a grant that will allow us to go up and do it for 2 or 3 people, or 4 if we have to, and then word of mouth comes out, these people could come out of the woodwork and and that's what we hope to do, because self-management is really important, especially when you don't have a lot of PCPs available.
I can't make a motion.
So we'll entertain a motion to approve the grant proposals as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Accept.
Motion carries. Please move forward with preparing the grant as outlined. Thank you for your service.
And whoever our chairperson is, this is the very first thing you get to do is sign off on this when I finish the application.
Good work, good work.
Okay, we have just a few minutes left, so we'll go ahead and take some public comments. Paul, is it kosher for us to do like a round robin, or we're just supposed to open floor time for comment, or is it at our discretion?
Even though we're not subject to public meeting rules, this portion of the agenda is as if we were the county commission
As
or
if you were a public.
as if we were, so it's really not members, it's
I see.
somebody who wants to come in and yip for a little bit. But we have to have it on the agenda so that they can see it on the website and it complies with the health authority's request.
Perfect, okay, well,
So our discussion usually about anything else going on, that's outside of public
that's
comment.
outside of public comment, okay, so do we have any public comments for anyone who is public? We don't have any public that is not, I think everybody is members.
It's okay to put in the minutes, there was no public
No
comment.
public,
I
no
I have
public
some public comment as a citizen. I think you guys are all doing a smashing job.
Well, we appreciate that. Okay, no
was
further
public
public comment.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody has anything for the greater good of the group, I do wanna take a minute and just let, we're kind of starting to share more publicly our Cerner implementation, which is our new electronic health record. So if you work for Lake Health District, you know that that's a really big thing that's happening right now. We're going from 5 systems to 1, so that's gonna be really great for our community and for our patients. We've really listened to the feedback that we've gotten as far as we wanna have one bill, we want it all to come from the same place, we only wanna call one place for our medical records. So we're working really hard to make that come to fruition, so we wanna just really beg for patience as we start to transition towards that and just let you guys know that that is what's going on, keep everybody kind of informed. We can answer questions, anything like that, but we are moving in that direction, so you'll be seeing those things coming forward in the coming months. We have a targeted implementation date of mid-April.
I have a kind of a technical question and then you can answer it offline.
Okay,
You know, as we're integrating the health records, right? Whether it's part of, I'm assuming public health's involved, I'm assuming the mental health.
district-wide, it's an enterprise-wide system.
Okay. How do you share that health record with, what is it, SF 42? Where if you have an addiction or you've had drug treatment, that's excluded from sharing part of the record, but, so you're only, if you're.
Those are on Credible. They're on
So,
separate.
well, I can answer that as well, so we.
So how do you share it if you're only getting half the information? If you're on the other side, you go in and you think that this, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yep, I can absolutely speak to that. So, there are lots of things within behavioral health and even within public health that are very confidential. And so there are special security measures that are built into that, and they actually, so we actually have mental health services or behavioral health services that are embedded within our rural health clinics. So we not only have our wellness center, who will go live with Cerner about a year behind us, and they are a completely separate domain. However, the behavioral health that's integrated within Lake Health Clinic, they're treated as a separate entity, and so there is very secure and limited access to those records, and so all of that is maintained that way. So everybody, the access is very, it's tailored down to only people that absolutely have to have that, and those that are sharing that information are doing so under the correct regulations. So it's not being pushed out on Commonwealth, onto the health exchange or anything of that nature. It's just, we're really regulating the security of that, and so they're actually like sub-departments that have different access and they, not everybody can see into their system. Who's a patient there, who's had even a visit there, so that's all being very regulated. It was a very big challenge for Cerner, because nobody's quite like Lake Health District. We actually, because most places don't have behavioral health and public health as part of their health district.
No, but more of it's happening, that's
More
why
of it's
I'm
happening.
curious, and as we
Yes.
promote behavioral health integration,
Yeah.
some of the contracts require a shared health record, and then that SR 42 comes into play, and it just messes some things up.
Yeah, so we've had extensive meetings with the Cerner reps and all of our staff to figure out the best way to handle that. So obviously we're heading into our integration and testing phase to test those things, and we've written scripts specifically around those scenarios to make sure that information is protected and that no one else will have access. But we're confident that we've found a good solution to that. It took a little bit of head scratching, but yes, we certainly are accommodating that.
You guys are the most integrated system that we have in Eastern
We've
Oregon.
worked hard to
There's
stay that way.
there's such opportunity because you're all under the umbrella of the health district for some great things, but
If you can
it's time to start,
build this
start the population health group.
department.
When I go to
Department
other
of Health.
grant things are on the HIPCDIP, the Oregon Health Authority HIPCDIP grant that I work under, and they say, well, it's a good idea, maybe you should go, interact with these people, and those, I'm like, we've been interacting with those people since our first day, forever. Some people, it was like totally deer in the headlights when they talked to them about their LCAC, they're like, what? So that's been kind of interesting to see that we are unique, and it really is. It's been awesome as a prevention person to have the opportunity to potentially have a population health where we are looking at these things and integrating them.
Well, we're all on the same team, and that's for the health of our community, and we have that opportunity to be that team, and it is, we are doing amazing things. We were the first, I believe we were the first rural health clinic in the state to integrate behavioral health into our primary care setting. It was, and it is huge. We had, when the Cerner reps were out and they had a couple of the doctors came, they were like, you're doing what? Why do you know anything about MED and what are you talking about? You have behavioral health embedded in your primary care. So we're doing great things in our little county that are making big waves and that are really, we are at the forefront of being able to be successful in a value-based care method. I mean, that's a big thing from a financial perspective, and we're set up to do well, so everyone is doing a great job.
Right, the shame is, with only 1,800 members, you can't take a fully capitated risk, the population's just too small. But you're more prepared to do that than anybody else, I believe.
Anybody else? Sorry, I took over there for a minute. I
No,
want people
it was my question.
in our community to be aware that this is coming and that really it's coming with the intent of our community at heart. We're trying to make sure that we can take care of you better. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you all for coming. Find a friend to bring next time. We'll adjourn the meeting.